What's up, everybody? It's your favorite big hands, favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Hellboy. I'm not sure from the company, but hopefully you'll see it in the description by now. It's all known to me from Jisk. A lot of dummies drama behind the scenes on this one because I mistakenly thought that that sludge from New Age would include a sword because it had a place in the clamshell for a sword, but the sword wasn't there, obviously, so I told Robert, you forgot to pack the sword, and then he was like, here we go, Bobby, I lost a sword face. So then he started telling, just get ready, he's gonna lose your sword, he's gonna, and all this, but, so just, I don't know if that's interesting or not, but perhaps funny. Anyway, we're gonna take a look at this guy, but in order to do so, we're gonna start with accessories. So he has an alternate head with horns, it's gonna make far more of a statement, because it is far more of a statement and has more of a presence to it. Painted beautifully, sculpted beautifully. You're gonna get tired of me saying that, but that's what it is. So you just put it on this top connection. While we're here, it does have a gimmick, and the gimmick is a light up feature. And I'm just trying to find where the switch is. There it is. It's on the back of the neck. So it lights up. And then, the eyes are lit up. We'll turn off the lights here. I'll be honest, it's not the brightest light in the world, but it is there. So he comes with a tail. Each one of these links is connected with a ball hinge, and that ball hinge is ratcheted, which is quite nice. And then the same type of paint that's throughout the whole figure that we'll talk about more when we get to the figure. And that just plugs directly into his backside, easy peasy. He has a coat, a trench coat. It's nice enough. Soft goods. We have wiring in the sleeves. We have the different colors, obviously. We have the belt that's a separate piece. And we have wiring in the bottom of it as well. And then we have like the little insignia there on the arm, which isn't great, to be honest with you. And it's glued on. It's not sewn on, so that's dumb. But otherwise, pretty good. And there he is with the coat on. You kind of have to take off the shoulder pads, and take the forearm off to make it work. But I actually think it adds something. I think I like it better with the coat on. It just has a little bit more personality. I dig that. I don't know. That's me. What do you want from me? That's my opinion. He comes with a sword. He didn't forget to pack his, Robert. And the bits here extend and show like the blade underneath. They don't really stay, which is kind of a bummer. The bottom four do, but this top one doesn't really. So that kind of sucks. Otherwise, the detailings are great. We'll talk about them when we get to the figure. They're the same type. And I think that's about all I got to say. Other than he can hold it just fine with a peg that goes into the sword in his hand there. And I think that'll work in either hand because the other one has a peg as well. He comes with 6 of these. They're like little smoke grenades or something. They're actually pretty cool because they have some wiggle room due to the socket. And then you have the orange metallic paint and then the 2 silvers. So just line this up with the corresponding ball pegs around the figure and hang them on. While we're on the topics of little bombs, he also comes with 4 of these. They're painted silver with black line work. And they also come with this, which can house them. And then you take this, and you can peg that right into the side of his hip here. He also comes with this little piece here. There's obviously a peg that goes into somewhere. I'll just be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure of where it goes. I haven't been able to find it. It looks like something that should go like in the head or something, but I haven't been able to find it. It comes in the same bag as the little bombs we just put into his holster on his hip, but I just don't know what else to tell you. He comes with a great big mamma jamma of a gun, a revolver, painted beautifully. The revolver spins, and then it also comes with 6 bullets, or 5 bullets. Counting is fundamental. And you can load those up into the gun, all 5, so that he can go to war properly, and then connect it. And that will be that. And he can hold it in his like fingered hand just fine, like the regular fingers. And there's a tab in his hand that pegs into the gun. He also comes with a smaller gun with similar details. That red looks great on there, by the way. No features or anything, but it does come with a holster, and you can slide the gun into the holster, and then that holster will peg on to the other hip if you so desire. And he can also hold it just fine with the tab from the palm of the hand into the gun. He also comes with a whole second giant arm with clawed fingers, and without the kind of like rotating pistons inside, which I actually prefer. Has a couple spikes on the hand, and then the wrist gets the full swivel, whereas you'll see the other one doesn't. To attach, it's just a peg, but the peg has a little groove in it at the base, or at the tip of it, so to speak. I know. But it takes a little bit of effort to get on and off, so just use caution while doing it. So we'll start with the head. We'll get in tight for Dennis. There's a ball peg from the head into the neck. It might be a double, but you don't really get the use of it. There's another single from the neck into the chest. So even if there isn't a double up top, it acts as such. We have beautiful red paint, the same red paint that you'll see throughout. There's also like a burgundy paint here, a dark gunmetal, and then a silver, and then the metallic yellow eyes. The sculpt is obviously a robot sculpt. It's a robot Hellboy. What do you want from him? We got you get that far forward, so that's not overly impressive. That far back, you get the swivel, and you get a little bit of confused Hellboy face. All right, let's back out a taste, and we'll lower the camera a taste, and we'll look at these shoulders. So the shoulders operate independently, as they should. They're also connected to the shoulder, as opposed to being connected to the chest, once again, as they should. The shoulder hinges up, and then we have universal joints for the shoulder. Where the universal joint plugs in, I think, is a giant ball joint. This is how they did that. You can get up to 90 degrees, but he doesn't hold it really well with the big hand, so to speak, at 90. He holds it at about 45, and then he holds it fairly well. Now, we get the rotation around, obviously, 360, and then you get a bit of a butterfly. I'll set this to the side. A bit of a butterfly from that ball peg where the universal joint connects with the chest. And I'm just trying to make this cohesive, but for the sake of the review, we'll just hold off on that. All right, so elbow. We have a hinge down at the bottom, and then a secondary hinge up here. Then these pieces kind of flay out to cover down on the joint. Really clever stuff. Love to see it. We have a bicep swivel right below the shoulder. Looks good to me. Same metallic paints we've already talked about, plus some orange accents, and then we get more metallic orange down here, more of that burgundy. All the cylinders here spin, which is cool. It is a nice thing. Even like this panel here at the elbow, when you fold up, it tucks in. Little stuff like that is not lost on me. Then we have a wrist, which is on a swivel, but you don't get much movement out of it. You get a little bit of a hinge back, and that's a bit strange, honestly. Oh, it bangs up against here. Huh. Yeah, so that's not the best. And then we have the fingers. So the thumb is on a ball peg, and then we have a secondary and tertiary hinge for the thumb, and then that same engineering is applied to all the fingers. All at ball hinges, so that's nice. Nothing to complain about there. The other arm works the same way, but just to show it, same deal. The wrist, you get the full swivel on this one, and the fingers are engineered the same way as well, just on a smaller scale. So that's good. Now, we have a chest torso articulation point. Got a little scratch of paint right there. For a hinge, that gets you a good bit over. I'll try to get that out of your way there so you can see it. But I was actually impressed with the range of motion there. We'll take a look at the back real quick. Tons of detail, tons of paint. And you get the hinge back there as well. Now you have a rocker joint inside the torso. along with the same connection point in the chest, which gets you your teapot, and then it's just a simple swivel at the waist. It's not a full swivel because it bangs up against these sculpt points there, which does seem like a bit of a waste to me, to be honest. All right, let's take a look at the lower body, and we'll back out and look at the whole thing while we're at it. Hips. We have universals. They do swing down, I think. But in place, that's full Van Damme. And then forward, you should be able to rock these down. I can't get them to budge. I'm not going to force it, but even without rocking them down, you get about 45 degrees. But if you see here, I don't know if you can see that or not. It looks like this whole assembly should be able to drop down in here, but I can't get it to go. And I can't see it in the instructions either, which are trash, by the way. Thigh swivel. We have, look at that knee. It's a double jointed knee. A lot of moving pieces here. So this burgundy piece folds up. Watch that. Okay. This piece, the bottom burgundy piece, also moves with it. And then this piece on the back of the shin or calf moves down to get out of the way as well. Really elegant stuff. Do have some paint chipping. Once again, great sculpt work, great paint work on the lower legs. Ankles. So the ankles have a swivel. They have an ankle tilt up, an ankle tilt down, a toe hinge, and a rocker. The rocker is limited, but it is there. And we'll take a look at him from the back. Pretty impressive overall, but seems, you know, it does seem very novice at the same breath. It feels like there's a lack of understanding of how to make this really work properly, but it also feels like they're trying to figure it out and are getting better. I don't know that to be true. It's just the impression I get from handling it. I don't really know what you guys would want to see, you know, size comparison wise, but there he is next to Blue Pool and a Seeker from the main line. Hopefully that gives you some sort of an idea. He's about the size of a Hot Toy. He's about 12 inches tall, maybe a little bit more. Final thoughts wise, we'll start with the negative. It feels like a third-party pop-up company. Where like it looks pretty, it's got some good materials, but you start to see the cracks in the armor as you begin to kind of really get into the nooks and crannies of how the figure works. Whether that be build issues, assembly issues, paint scratching, things not moving quite the way they should, just little stuff like that. It just really shows like a lack of professionalism, of them really knowing what they're doing. It's like they know how to sculpt it, they know where to get the materials from, and they know how to paint it, but making it all come together seems to be a bit out of their league. But I don't think that that's a permanent scarlet letter that they'll always wear. I think if whoever these people are, if they continue to kind of move in this lane, they're going to be a real problem. Because there's a lot of good to talk about here as well, but we'll get into it in a bit. Articulation wise, you know, the hips, I can't get them to move. Other than that, I wish I had more range in the ankles. I wish I had the full swivel, and I wish that the gun hand could have a wrist swivel all the way around. It seems really dumb that wouldn't be the case. Like, there's no excuse for it, really. And honestly, he could hold his sword a little bit better. And the sword pieces in general, it's like another one of those examples, right? Like it's cool, it's a cool idea, it's a cool design, blah blah blah, but then the tip of the sword doesn't work properly. Do you know what I mean? Just another one of those things. Positives wise, the sculpt is great, the paint is great, the materials are great. It's really a shame that it doesn't follow through, and I think a big obstacle that they faced was with that huge arm and kind of getting that to work. You know, that's no small feat. Or hand, you know what I mean? Oh, come on. Anyway, I think the tail is awesome. I think the accessories as a whole, sometimes stuff like this, the accessories can almost be daunting. Like, it's like too much, and you got to figure out what you're going to use and what you're going to keep in the box and blah, blah, blah. He could pretty much incorporate all of his accessories if you wanted to, with the exception of which head are you going to choose. I love that about them, and I love that for him. The majority of the articulation works well. I love the moving stuff, like the Flames Toys bit with like the lower bit of the legs and the knee and all that. Like, there's a lot of good here, so I'm going to give it a soft recommend. Just know that this is not on the same level as that Leonardo. It's not on the same level as Flames Toys. Like, this is a step below. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.